Hey everyone, welcome to the show. Ever feel like you're trapped screaming but nobody can hear you?
Oh, absolutely.
It's kind of the terrifying idea behind the voices, a psychological thriller.
Ooh, a thriller.
Yeah, that we are diving into today.
Sounds creepy.
Oh, it is. And you can find a link to the book on Amazon. It's down in the description.
Okay.
So don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on future deep dives.
Yes.
So the voices introduces us to Tamsin.
Tamsin, okay.
She's a psychiatrist. She works with these high-risk offenders. And then suddenly she finds herself in this locked-in state after a mysterious car accident.
Oh, wow. So she can't move?
Right.
Can't talk?
Exactly. Imagine being fully aware,
Oh my gosh.
but you're completely trapped.
That's terrifying.
Inside your own body,
Whoa.
unable to move, communicate.
Wow.
The author does a brilliant job of putting you right there in her head.
I bet. It's like a sensory deprivation, but you're aware of everything.
It's like being buried alive,
Oh.
but all your senses are heightened.
Yeah.
And you're at the mercy of your caregivers.
Right.
So that's where the tension really starts to build, because she can hear everything happening around her, including conversations that hint that maybe something sinister is going on with this accident.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the official cause of the car crash, it's unknown. But her carer, Milena, she suspects foul play.
Okay.
And she even suggests that it might be connected to Tamsin's work with these dangerous criminals.
Interesting.
Makes you wonder, who might have wanted her silence?
I know, right?
Yeah.
So do we know anything about these criminals?
Well, Milena's suspicions, they add a whole other layer, especially when we start to consider this guy named Richard Mandeville.
Okay.
He's Tamsin's former client and a convicted criminal.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, he's actually an earl.
An earl. Wow.
Yeah, very charming,
Fancy.
with a dark past.
Okay.
He was convicted of violent crimes against women,
Oh, wow.
but he's actually fighting for a retrial at the time of Tamsin's accident. Like, appearances can be deceiving.
Definitely.
It makes you question how well you can truly know someone.
For sure.
On the surface, he's, charismatic, sophisticated.
Right.
But underneath, there's this dangerous and manipulative personality.
Oh, gosh.
And then we have Dan Atwood. He is Tamsin's ex-boyfriend.
Okay.
And he's a probation officer who is deeply involved in Richard's case.
Oh, wow.
So he's convinced of Richard's guilt
Okay.
and super suspicious of his motives.
Makes sense.
Creates a lot of tension.
Yeah, I bet.
So Dan represents this really interesting contrast to Richard.
Okay.
He's grounded, pragmatic, driven by this strong sense of justice.
Sounds like a good guy.
You get the sense that he cares for Tamsin, even though their relationship's over, and wants to protect her.
That's nice.
It's a really complicated dynamic,
I bet.
especially because they share a daughter, Elise.
Oh, wow.
Speaking of complicated relationships, we also get these glimpses into Tamsin's life before the accident.
Oh, okay.
Her marriage to Jamie and her friendship with Lucia.
All right.
And then the book throws us this curveball. We find out that Jamie's having an affair with Lucia.
Oh, no.
Even before the accident. Betrayal on multiple levels.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder how Tamsin would have reacted.
I know. If she hadn't been in that state.
Right. Would she have confronted them? Tried to salvage her marriage?
Right.
We don't know.
It's impossible to know.
And to add even another layer, we've got Lucia's son, Matteo.
Okay.
He harbors this resentment toward Jamie
Okay.
because he thinks Jamie was somehow involved in his father's death.
Oh, wow.
So it's like this web of interconnected relationships where everyone is affected by everyone else's actions.
Yeah.
And then, after 3 years, no improvement, the doctors and Jamie, they start to consider withdrawing Tamsin's treatment.
Oh, gosh.
So it raises all these questions about medical ethics.
Right, right.
What is life?
Yeah.
And the difficult choices families face.
Wow, that's heavy.
But Milena, who really believes in Tamsin's awareness,
Yeah.
she desperately tries to advocate for her.
Good.
She even brings in these case studies that support this possibility of consciousness.
Okay.
So Milena becomes this voice for the voiceless,
Yeah, I like her.
challenging everyone's assumptions and judgments.
That's great.
It has this unwavering belief in Tamsin.
It's wonderful, especially when everyone else is giving up.
Right, and just when you think you're starting to understand the dynamics at play,
Yeah.
the author throws this curveball. Milena reveals that she has this personal connection to Richard.
What?
She says that he rescued her and her brother during the Kosovo War.
Wow.
So at first he's painted as this hero.
Right, right.
But as the story unfolds, we discover this much darker truth,
Oh, no.
implicating Richard in the abuse and trafficking of women during the conflict.
Oh, my gosh. That's terrible.
It really reframes everything we thought we knew about Richard.
Totally changes your perspective.
Makes Milena's character even more compelling.
Absolutely.
Right.
Wow.
Her connection to Richard adds this whole layer of complexity.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder how many lives he's affecting.
I know how far his deception goes.
And remember those initial feelings of sympathy we might have had for him?
Right, like he was just this flawed guy.
Now we see him for what he is. A predator,
Yeah,
exploiting others.
scary.
And this revelation ties directly into Tamsin's accident.
Oh, okay.
Remember, we thought it was just this tragic accident.
Right, at first.
Turns out, Tamsin had this plan to expose Richard.
Uh-huh.
She was secretly recording him.
Bold move.
And this recording leads to this tense confrontation
Oh, wow.
and a terrifying chase that ends in the car accident.
Oh.
So we discovered that Richard orchestrated the whole thing.
No way.
He's responsible for her locked-in state.
Gosh, he's awful.
It's like this heart-stopping moment when you realize it wasn't an accident at all.
Right.
He's not just manipulative, he's dangerous.
Wow.
He'll silence anyone who threatens him.
That's really scary.
So we've got this psychiatrist trapped, this charming manipulator with a dark secret, and then this dedicated carer, trying to protect her patient while battling her own demons.
Wow.
That's a lot. So what are your initial thoughts?
It's definitely a lot to unpack. What stood out to you the most?
Share your thoughts in the comments below.
Yeah.
We'll be back shortly with more analysis of the voices.
Can't wait. It's really amazing how much is packed into just the first part of the book. Like, there's so much going on.
I know, right?
A compelling mystery.
Yeah.
A cast of complex characters.
Yeah.
Those ethical questions
Totally.
really makes it...
It's a page-turner, for sure.
Yeah.
So we've kind of laid the groundwork now. Let's dig a little deeper into Tamsin's psychological state.
Okay. Yeah.
Because remember, she's not just a passive victim here.
Right.
Before the accident, she was a highly skilled psychiatrist.
Uh-huh.
She was used to analyzing people,
Yeah.
figuring out their motives,
Okay.
and even trapped in this locked-in state.
Right.
Her mind is still sharp.
Oh, wow.
It's like she's a detective,
Okay.
piecing together clues,
Uh-huh.
but she only has the sounds and sensations around her
Right.
to try to figure out what's happening.
That's tough.
I know. It's almost like her confinement
Yeah.
has heightened her senses.
Interesting.
She notices the tiniest changes
Okay.
in her surroundings
Yeah.
and inflections in voices,
Mm-hmm.
even like the scents that drift through the air.
Wow.
And it's through those details
Yeah.
that she starts to suspect that something is wrong.
Right.
She picks up on those little inconsistencies in the stories people tell her.
Mm-hmm.
The way he avoids certain topics,
Okay.
those moments of guilt or fear on their faces.
Interesting. Like she can read them.
Yeah, like, for example, there's a scene where Richard visits her at Rushmore,
Right.
and she can sense his unease.
Okay.
She can tell that he's hiding something.
Oh, wow.
But we know the truth, right?
Right? As the readers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just this chilling scene
Uh-huh.
because she's still putting it all together.
Yeah. It's like...
It's like a spider trapped in its own web.
Oh, right. And the predator's coming.
Exactly.
Oh, that's a good analogy.
And the way Richard talks about those therapy sessions,
Yeah.
it's creepy.
Uh-huh.
Like he felt this connection with her.
Right. Right.
But it just shows how manipulative he is.
Total.
He used their professional relationship
Yeah.
to gain her trust.
To get close to her.
Exactly. It's like classic predator behavior.
It is. Yeah.
It makes you wonder how many people out there
Right.
are so good at putting up that front.
Totally. You never know.
And all this time,
Yeah.
Tamsin's listening,
Mm-hmm.
taking it all in.
Right.
She understands his intentions,
But can't do anything about it.
but she can't do
It's
anything.
awful.
It's frustrating for the reader, I bet.
Yeah, I bet.
It's almost like a relief when we learn that her attempt to expose him
Yeah.
is what led to the accident.
Okay. Right.
Because it shifts the narrative
Uh-huh.
from just being a victim
Yeah.
to being defiant,
Right.
even though it cost her everything.
But it's kind of ironic, right?
Yeah,
She was trying to protect other people, and
Yeah.
she became the target.
exactly. It's so sad.
Right.
And to add another layer,
Yeah.
she can't remember the details of the accident.
Oh, wow.
It's like her mind
Yeah.
has blocked it out
Right.
to protect itself.
Self-preservation.
Yeah, but those repressed memories
Right.
might be the key to exposing him,
Oh, wow.
bringing him to justice.
Well, she can't access them.
No, and it's a race against time.
Yeah.
Because the doctors and Jamie are talking about withdrawing care.
Right.
And that's where Milena steps in.
Yes.
As this guardian
Oh,
angel.
I love her.
She really advocates for Tamsin.
Uh-huh.
She believes in her.
Yeah.
even when nobody else does.
She's amazing.
She's like a warrior battling the system that just wants to give up.
Right.
She digs deeper into Richard's past, uncovers those horrific details.
About Kosovo?
About the trafficking.
Right.
And her own connection to him.
Yeah.
Adds this whole other dimension to the story.
It does.
It's really powerful.
I know. It makes it so real.
And her decision to testify against him is so courageous.
It is.
It's like she's breaking free from this cycle of a church. It's inspiring.
It is. It really is.
And it makes you think about all of the other victims who are still suffering in silence.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And speaking of silenced voices, let's go back to Tamsin.
Yeah.
And how she tries to communicate.
Right.
Even with her limitations.
Even though she can't speak.
Right, she's completely paralyzed, but she's still looking for ways to connect.
Yeah.
There's that part where she describes her internal calendar. And how it's easily disrupted, especially on days when nobody visits.
Oh, wow.
It shows how much she needs that connection.
Yeah, that human contact. I never thought about it like that.
And then we have those little breakthroughs.
Oh,
like when her vital signs change, when Richard is there. Or when she manages to grunt while Dan is there.
Yeah.
It's like those are turning points in the story.
They are, yeah.
It gives you hope that she might be able to communicate again.
Right. Fight back. Like a little seedling pushing through the dirt.
I love that.
Yeah.
And when she wakes up.
Oh, yeah.
It's such a relief.
I bet.
It's a victory.
Yeah.
Not just for her, but for anyone who's ever felt trapped and unheard.
Right.
But her recovery is just the beginning of another journey.
Oh, of course.
It's not over.
Right.
And what about justice?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Richard's dead.
Right.
So there's no trial.
No punishment.
How does she find closure?
Yeah, that's a good question.
How does she heal?
Yeah.
We'll explore that in the final part. But before we do, what resonated with you the most in this part?
Yeah, what moments really stuck with you?
What questions are on your mind? The Voices is such a gripping thriller.
I know, right?
But it also makes you think about, like, human resilience.
Totally, how we can overcome.
Yeah, it really stays with you.
It does,
Makes you think.
Especially about justice and healing.
Right, exactly.
And the power of our spirit.
And speaking of healing,
okay,
let's talk about Tamsin's recovery.
Yeah, what happens to her?
It's not like a simple happy ending.
Right.
It's a long journey for her.
Makes sense.
Both physically and emotionally.
Yeah, she went through so much.
She did. And even though she's awake, Richard's actions still have this weight on her.
Right. The trauma.
Yeah, her body's changed forever.
That's true.
And then there's Jamie's betrayal.
Oh, right, the affair.
Can their marriage even recover from that?
Yeah. Is that even possible?
That's a big question.
It is.
Can she forgive him?
For Lucia.
Yeah. And that question, it just lingers. We see Jamie trying to make things right.
Okay.
Explain himself.
Right, right.
But for Tamsin, forgiveness isn't easy.
It's complicated.
It really is.
And what about Lucia?
Oh, yeah, Lucia.
She was manipulated too.
Right, by Richard.
But her relationship
with Jamie, with Tamsin.
They're broken.
Can they be fixed?
I don't know.
Will there always be that shadow of what happened?
Good question.
It's messy.
It is, yeah.
It's like this tangled web. Everyone's hurting.
And they feel guilty.
There are no easy answers.
Right. It's real life.
And then there's Matteo.
Oh, yeah. Lucci's son.
Stuck in the middle of it all.
I know. It's sad for him.
How does he cope with losing his dad?
Yeah. And his mom's affair.
And Tamsin coming back.
Right. Like his whole world changed.
It really shows you how trauma and betrayal can affect whole families.
It ripples out.
It does.
It's interesting, though. Yeah. It's a release that Tamsin wakes up.
Right.
But it's also sad.
Because Richard's dead.
Yeah. No confrontation.
No real justice.
So how do we move on?
It makes you think. Sometimes justice is elusive.
It is, yeah.
We don't always get closure.
Right, but maybe that's the point.
Yeah.
Healing is internal.
Okay.
It doesn't need external validation.
That's a good point.
And there are other forms of justice.
Like what?
Well, Richard might have escaped.
Yeah.
But his crimes are exposed.
Thanks to Melina.
And her mom.
Their voices were heard.
Exactly. They broke the silence.
So other survivors might feel empowered to speak up.
It's about speaking truth to power.
Right. Even when it's hard.
And Tamsin's recovery.
Yeah?
It's a form of justice, too.
How so?
Well, she defied Richard.
Okay.
He tried to silence her.
But she's back?
She's alive. She's fighting.
Wow. I never thought about it like that.
It's powerful.
It is.
It's like even when things are awful, we can overcome.
We can heal.
And we can find our voices.
The Voices really makes you think.
I know, right?
It's dark, but it's hopeful, too.
Yeah. It's about trauma and betrayal.
But it's also about hope and healing.
And the power of our voice.
So that's it for our deep dive.
Into the Voices.
By Natalie Chandler.
What did you guys think?
What stuck with you?
Share your thoughts in the comments.
And if you haven't read it,
You should.
add it to your list.
Definitely.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Yeah, for more deep dives.
Until next time.